this guy's excuse for why it is that he didn't report in to his probation officer gets him an episode on this channel. Welcome to Off the Record.
Want the truth? You can't handle the truth.
We have a first amended motion to revoke unadjudicated probation. It's time we move forward. Are y'all ready?
Right, Your Honor.
All right. Does the defendant waive a formal reading of this motion? First amended motion. Can we proceed in summary?
Yes, Your Honor, please.
Raise your right hand. Lower your hand. In summary, this first amended motion to revoke unadjudicated probation in this cause number 20-35407 states that on May 22nd, 2023, in this court, that you were placed on 10 years deferred or unadjudicated probation for burglary of a habitation, which was a first-degree felony in the way it is alleged, because it states you burglarized a habitation. At the time of the offense, the county was under a declaration of disaster made by the Jefferson County judge, and that was for a hurricane. Is all of that true?
Yes, sir.
Number one, states you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office on or about October 18th, November 20th of 2023, January 17th, 2024, in violation of your probation order. Is that true or untrue? Two, states you failed to provide verification of performing community service hours as required. Is that true?
True.
Then first amended motion number 4 states you failed to report to the Jefferson County Probation Office for the months of February of 2024. Is that true?
True.
5, you failed to remain in Jefferson County, Texas, and that you were in Minnesota on or about March 27th, 2024, without permission of the probation office, which states you must have permission to leave the county as part of your probation order. Is that true? You understand by a plea of knowing and voluntary plea of true to one or more violations of probation, that is enough to grant this first amended motion to revoke probation. Your deferred or unadjudicated probation can be revoked, and you can be sentenced to the full range of punishment, no less than 5 nor more than 99 years confinement or life imprisonment. Knowing that, do you insist on pleading truth nonetheless?
Yes, sir.
Or there is no agreement here.
Right, Your Honor.
Go ahead.
Your Honor, my argument is these are hard to say administrative issues, but they're not new substance cases. I'll put it that way. Okay. I understand the court's position on people that abscond, and they are alleging that he was did not report for how many months is that? A 4-month period, basically from October 23 through February of 2024. Right, is that right? 4 months? Oh, there's December in there missing. Did he? I'm not sure if he reported in December or not, but alleged here. He didn't? Okay, well, not alleged here, but I assume that's in there too. October, November, December, January, and February. The only other major issue, Your Honor, is behind some fines and fees, but I know the court's position on that. That's not a big issue. The other reason is being out of state in Minnesota. I don't think that's, were you in Minnesota? Did they catch you in Minnesota or did you come back here?
No, they caught me in Minnesota.
Okay. So I think at this point we could ask the defendant why he was in Minnesota, and that may shed some light on what's going on here. I don't think it was because
Does it really matter?
Well, I don't think it was a situation where he was trying to run or just hide and be gone. If I can actually, maybe it's the problem is with it, Sean. Let me ask you some questions about that. Okay. You can swear, man.
He's already been sworn.
I'm sorry. I forgot you did that earlier. Okay.
Well, you were here.
I was here. I didn't.
1 foot from him when we did that.
I was looking at my computer, Your Honor. You were right. You did swear, man.
Go ahead.
Mr. Brantley, you were in Minnesota. I want you to let the court know why you're in Minnesota.
A new beginning.
Okay. And what do you think? You said a new beginning. What do you mean by that? Explain what you mean by that. I know what you're talking about. I want you to tell the court what you mean by that.
I didn't have any stability down here, and I tried to get a job, and there was a good reason to go.
Okay. Did you have a job opportunity up there?
Yeah.
What kind of job opportunities you have up there that you were going to pay for?
Grill, cook.
Okay. You couldn't find anything here? Why couldn't you find anything here?
The lack of support. I had no credentials, no IDs, nowhere to stay. I was homeless.
Okay. Did you have somewhere to stay up there?
Yes.
Do you have family or somebody up there? What's going on?
A girlfriend.
Okay. So you had somebody living up there.
Yeah.
Okay. So you had some place to go to live.
Yeah.
Okay. Why didn't you let your probation officer know this?
At the time, I didn't have the means to.
What do you mean by that?
My phone had got stolen.
And From that answer, we can see that this genius has put all of his mental capabilities into coming up with an airtight answer of why he didn't call his probation officer. His phone got stolen. And obviously, that airtightness comes into play, that from that time till the time that he gets picked up for breaching, that everyone he came into contact with did not have a phone on them he could borrow, and that everywhere he went, he never saw a payphone. It really is astounding that someone of this intelligence can actually breathe and walk.
Okay, so you didn't have a phone.
Right.
That also goes into, well, let me ask you this. When did you go up to Minnesota? Do you remember what month?
December.
Okay.
How'd you get up there?
The Greyhound.
You started out in Beaumont.
Yes, sir.
So took a bus up there. So why didn't you, and that would explain why you didn't show up in December, January, and February, but why didn't you show up to your meetings in October and November of 23?
I initially reported in October.
Okay. And then, but you didn't go back? Why
I
didn't
didn't
you
go
go back?
back
Why not?
because I didn't have the means, no transportation.
Breathe and walk. It really is astounding.
Okay.
I
Yeah.
was homeless.
So you were trying to get a job, get your life in order. Is that correct?
Correct.
And by the look of Judge Stevens, I believe that this look is the look of someone who is trying everything to not just say, "How fucking stupid do you think I am, you dopey, useless muppet?"
Do you understand part of being on probation is checking into your meeting or to your officer once a month, correct?
Yes.
And you understand part of it's also let him know when you leave the state, correct? Okay. But you were leaving the state to have more stability, place to live, a job, to make your life better, correct? Okay. Now, if the judge, for whatever reason, decides to let you stay on probation on this, where would you end up living? Here or Minnesota, or what's your plans?
It would be here, but then I would ask if I could get my probation transferred.
Okay. Okay. So you understand you can't leave until the probation department gives you the authority or the permission, so to say, to transfer to another place, correct?
Correct.
And I say transfer, that's not really transfer, it's courtesy supervision, I guess it would be the technical term. Okay. What do you want to tell the judge? Why should he continue you on probation?
I was on probation once and I fulfilled everything with no problem. I know I messed up, but I mean,
I think he sees what we see, that this plan of his doesn't seem to be working.
I have kids that I'm trying to provide for, and I know I messed it up. I'm not a criminal.
That is the best one yet.
Sir? What did you just say?
I'm not a criminal.
You pleaded guilty to a crime. Isn't that criminal?
Yes, sir.
Okay. But you fix it. This isn't the way to fix it. By taking off. And he's going to talk to you, but there's a mistake made, and I'm going to correct it. Mr. West was asking you a question, and he said, part of your probation is being subject to supervision.
All right.
And that's not right. All of your probation is part of supervision. Which, when you took off, we lost all of that. The whole essence of probation is to be supervised, which we lost completely when you took off. You were under your own probation terms, which isn't the way, and you signed off.
I think Judge Stevens is completely wrong as he's trying to teach this guy something, and all this guy is doing is thinking how pretty the color red is.
So, Mr. Brantley, what
You
are you
signed off on it. I'm just going to end this with this, and you can pick up. You signed off on this probation, and it states, let's see. Oh, there it is. Yeah. Oops. Your signature there. I agree to follow all conditions imposed upon me, and I know this community supervision can be revoked for any violation. I will remain in the legal custody of the District Court of Jefferson County and waive extradition if I'm charged with a violation and am arrested in another state.
Red color pretty.
I believe you did. I don't
And
think
so-
there's an issue getting it here.
And you signed it there knowing about the importance of probation and the way it works.
Mr. Brantley, what are you asking the court to do today? I know we came back one time before and we originally signed a plea bargain for 5 years the minimum, and the judge said no, that was more than that. What are you asking for him to do today? If you could ask the judge what you do, what you should ask?
There's
Reconsider the 5 years.
That's it, Sean.
I don't have any questions.
No. How many times did he report?
Once.
Reported for intake one
Yeah,
time.
he intake one time and then was gone,
Yes.
gone. And it's just a bad precedence. I mean, if everybody, 5,000 probationers that we have, 5,000, they all did this, it would be catastrophic, chaos. That's why this is so important that you do your part. Then we had to go find you, chase you down and bring you back here. And if we had to do that 5,000 times, we wouldn't be able to. It'd be chaos. But it's obvious that you didn't take this seriously from the beginning. You didn't. And you weren't under supervision, which is.
We can assume then that the telephone plan has gone to shit.
5 out of 6 people are successful. I hate anybody failing, but this is a bad precedent to set that you can go one time, abscond, take off to another state, and then how did you get back in custody?
I was driving my girlfriend to work and I had an accident and the state trooper pulled me over
Where?
in Minnesota.
Okay, and they ran and the computer showed that there was a warrant out for you.
Yes, sir.
How's that for someone that apparently isn't a criminal? If the state trooper had to pull him over, then he must have left the scene of the accident he caused. That really does tell us all we need to know about Red is pretty.
Well, so you didn't, and you didn't come back. You didn't think about it and worry about it and say, oh God, I better get back there. It's bothering my conscience. They had to catch you in another state. Okay. The thing is, that's just a bad example to set to minimize it for you can do this. And then if you get caught, when you come back, it's the minimum. That's not the way it works with me and everybody else who
Your Honor,
looks at supervision as being serious.
there's one thing that you haven't talked about that I want to remind Your Honor about. When he was sentenced on May 22nd, you had ordered 180 days up front. You apparently made a choice to reduce that to 4 months. And that's why he got out on September 28th. And the reason why I'm highlighting that is normally we do that upfront time to try to set the tone about how serious we're going to take the matter. And I'm not sure that message was received.
You gotta love this prosecutor.
Anything you'd like to say, sir?
No one had a phone. Red is pretty, and where am I?
I understand what I did wasn't the best ideas or the best choices made.
It was the worst idea you could make, but what? Do you see the example that's set? They can't go to the initial meeting and then take off. You were on the maximum of 10 years probation. That's the maximum we can put on it. And then you took off to another state on your own,
With a phone.
which isn't good. And I don't want to set the Roy Brantley rule that the next person comes in and goes, I did a lot less than what he did. Can I get less than he got? It's a serious thing to swear you're going to follow the rules and not to. Anything else to add?
Not sure.
If nothing further to add by any of the party, I find that there is sufficient evidence supporting this first amended motion to revoke unadjudicated post-conviction, as allegations 1, 2, 4, and 5 have been proven true beyond a reasonable doubt. And your deferred or unadjudicated probation is now revoked. Earlier, you pleaded guilty to this first degree felony of burglary of a habitation. And let's remind everybody, it was enhanced from a second degree normally to a first degree because you burglarized a home when people had fled this area, fleeing because of a storm, a state of disaster. And to take advantage of that is also low.
Oh God, he's worse than a criminal. He's a looter. And that's why he left the scene of the accident.
To hurt somebody when they've had to flee the area by declaration of the officials. That puts everybody in a vulnerable position. That's why we have to take care of each other. And that's not what you did. I now find you guilty beyond a reasonable doubt of this first-degree felony of burglary of a habitation. And you were hereby sentenced now, since your deferred or unadjudicated probation has been revoked, you were hereby sentenced to confinement in the institutional division of the Texas Department of Criminal Justice to serve a term of 10 years.
Boom! I bet he is kicking himself that he didn't use the aliens abducted me story instead of the no phone, no home plan.
You will be given credit. You look like you're accredited for a year right now already. This is not an aggravated case. So your parole will probably be a quarter or so. Again, the parole authorities are in charge of that. But it's bad enough to commit a burglary of a habitation, but it's worse when it was a state of disaster and people had to evacuate. Then we're all vulnerable. And that was just low to go and burglarize and steal from people when they had to leave for a disaster. Anyway, that's not minimum punishment. That deserves more than minimum. It's just not morally right. It's not decent. That's why the court has assessed the sentence. That is all.
So that was that. I thank my subscribers for staying to the end. I appreciate you guys choosing me to hang out with most every day for 20 minutes or so. I really am humbled by you guys doing that. And I really like that. What I read in the comments by my subscribers, when I get it right, I really, really do. It makes me smile. And hopefully, every now and then, I can do that for all you guys too. So until then, stay safe. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. And if you are looking for another episode that has all the boring stuff cut out and gives you just the good stuff, then here a couple that may interest you. Enjoy